Okay, so we're starting chapter 3. We're adding and subtracting decimals. We're not subtracting decimals until later in the chapter. And I've given you guys several handouts on adding decimals. I think most of you are pretty comfortable with that. But let's take a look at this here. So again, everybody should have their name on this handout. You don't want to lose it. I think this goes up until 3.4 or 5, about half the chapter. So it says two-digit addition and subtraction, find the sum or difference. Whenever we talk about difference, that is subtraction. And sum is addition. So keep that in mind as we go through this. So there's a little plus sign here, so we're supposed to add these together. So 6 and 8 is 14. We would obviously carry the 1, which would be 110. Okay, and then 1 and 7 is 8, plus 5 more is 13. Then we carry the 1 again, and then we just bring it straight down, and the answer would be 134. Yep. So it looks more complicated than it is. You guys already know how to do this. I notice in this particular problem there isn't any decimals. So let's look at this one here. Now we're subtracting, and we haven't done that yet. But again, there really isn't any decimals. I suppose if we were to put a decimal in here, in the number 134, where would it be? It'd be right here. Okay. So in this one, we're subtracting. We're taking 7 from 2, which we can't do that. So we have to borrow from the 8, and the 8 becomes a 7. And what are we borrowing? Well, we're borrowing a 10, and we're going to add that to the 2, so this would actually be 12. I always just put a little number 1 right there next to it, but they've got these boxes they want you to fill out here. So now we subtract 7 from 12. Obviously, that's going to be 5, and then we can take 4 from 7 now, because it's no longer 8, and that would be 3, and so the answer would be 35. And where would the decimal be in this one? Right here, 35. All right? Then it says decimals greater than 1. It says write the word form and the expanded form for each. So this is 3 4/10. The expanded form would look like this. Let me write this down first here. It'd be 3 plus, what would it be plus? 0.4, or you could write 0.4. Either one would be correct. And the expanded form for this one would be 2 plus what? 0.51. Or if somebody had just written 0.51, that's also acceptable. Okay? Either way would be correct. Now it says write the word form, and this would be 3 and 4 tenths.
What if you write 3.4?
I would accept it, but this is really what they're looking for here, 3 and 4 tenths versus writing down 3.4. So write this 3 and 4 tenths. This would be 2 and 51 hundredths. I'm going to squeeze that in over here. 51 hundredths. Zoom this in a little bit for you guys here. Now, a few weeks ago, we were making some fractions from decimals. And let me get some scratch paper here. What is this? Here we go. Let's use this. before we do 5 through 10 here, if I wrote a decimal, let's say it was 0.7, and I wanted to turn that into a fraction, Mr. Wooldridge?
It would be 7/10.
It would be 7/10. Okay? If I wrote 0.9, what do you think that would be? Yes?
9/10.
It would be 9/10. Okay? What if I wrote 0.2? What do you think that would be? Yeah.
2 and 2/10. 10.
It'd be 2 over what?
Over 10.
Over 10. Okay. Now, this one here is a little different because I can reduce it. Whenever we have a number that will go into the numerator and the denominator, then we can reduce it. So what number would go into 2 and go into 10? CM?
5.
Well, 5 does not fit into 2, so that would not work. Mr. Wasowski?
2.
2 goes into 2 how many times?
1.
2 goes into 10 how many times?
5 times.
5 times. So 2/10 reduces down to 1/5, and so now we're done with that one. Okay? Let me do another one. Miss Dart, what if I wrote 0.5? What would that be in fraction form?
5/10.
Yes, nicely done. 5/10. Now, this one also can be reduced. What number will go into 5 and go into 10 evenly? Mr. Milmore, what do you think?
5.
Yeah, 5 goes into 5 how many times?
Once.
And 5 goes into 10?
2.
Okay. Anytime you see a fraction where half of the denominator is on top, it's always going to be 1/2. Let me show you what I mean. What if I had a fraction that was 50/100? What's that going to end up being? 1/2, because 50 is half of 100. Okay. What if I had a fraction that was 10/20? That's going to be 1/2, because 10 is half of 20. What if I had a fraction that was 4/8? 4 is half of 8, so that's going to be 1/2. Okay? So you guys understand now, anytime we have a decimal, like 0.7, that's going to be 7/10. But what if I had a decimal that was let's say here, 63? How could I turn that into a fraction? Yes. 63 over 100. Now, how many zeros do you see here? We've got 2 zeros. We have 2 digits. Let me do another one. What if I had 0.81? What would that be in a fraction? Let me start pulling sticks here. Miss Stocklin, what would that be in a fraction? Mm, 20 points. Mr. Paulson.
Yes! 81 over 100.
81 over 100. Okay, put up 20 points. All right. What if I had a decimal of 0.21? What would that be in a fraction? Mr. Clifton.
2100.
21 over 100. And again, I'm pointing out to you, we've got 2 digits here, 2 zeros, it's over 100. Okay. Let's do another one. Yeah, put up 10 points. CM. What if I had point 79? What would that be in
79 over 100.
79 over 100? Okay, put up, no, you put up, oh yeah, 2 tens, that's correct, okay. Questions on this? So we've gone from 1 decimal place to 2 decimal places. Now we'll look at 3 decimal places. Even though they don't have any in the next problems we're going to be doing, I want you guys to know. So what if I wrote down point 276, and I wanted that in fraction form? Miss Gordon, what do you think it would be? No? Mr. Duhamel's not here. Miss Hillscotter's not here. Set those aside. Mr. Sinod.
Oh, okay. 276 over 1,000.
276 over 1,000. So let me point out to you, bless you, we've got 3 digits. How many zeros do we have? 3. Okay, now some of these that we've done can be reduced, but I'm not worried about that. I just want you to recognize how to change them into a fraction. All right, Miss Reyes is not here. Miss Bowman, 0.777. Turn that into a fraction.
777
Over 1,000. 3 digits, 3 zeros, over 1,000. Okay, yes.
Can we here put up points?
Yeah, put up 10 each. All right, let's do another one. Mr. Villegas, 102. What would that be in a fraction?
You put 102 over 1,000.
Nicely done. All right. Questions on these? All right, so 10 points, yep. All right, so let's do a quick review. Miss Nealon's point 6. What would that be in a fraction? Thank you so much. 10 points, 6 over 10. Next one, Mr. Rosowski, point 98 in a fraction. What would that be?
98 over 100.
Thank you, 98 over 100. Okay, and the last one, that was 10 points. Mr. Storm, point 990. Okay, what would that be?
Over 1,000.
What, say again?
990
Over
over 1,000.
1,000. Okay, so with all that new information in mind, I'd like all of you to do 5 through 10 right now. Oh wait, actually no, these are a little different. Hold on here. So it says relate fractions and decimals, right, as a decimal or a fraction. So we could be going either way here. So let's take a look at this here. This one everybody should know how to do now. The first one, Miss Dart, 0.8 is a fraction. What would that be? 8 over 10. Okay. Let's continue with the decimals here. Here's another decimal, number 7. Mr. Texera, what would this be?
46 over 100.
46 over 100. Okay. And number 9, put up 10 points. Mr. McWilliams, number 9, what would that be?
90 over 100.
Yeah, 90 over 100. Okay. What's that? Yeah, 10 points. 10 points. Okay. How long is this video? 15 minutes? I think I'll stop right there. I don't want to make these too long here.